You'll never prove it was me. Lisa smirked as she swirled the wine in her glass, her perfectly polished nails tapping against the crystal. Across the dinner table, I doubled over in pain, a sharp cramp twisting through my stomach. Through blurred vision, I caught the look of satisfaction on her face. Around me, chaos erupted. My husband, James, grabbed his phone and dialed 911, his voice shaking as he described my symptoms. My mother-in-law, Margaret, hovered nearby, torn between concern and suspicion. My name is Olivia Parker. At 32 years old, I never imagined I'd be rushed to the emergency room during what was supposed to be an ordinary Sunday family dinner. Looking back, the bitter taste in my coffee should have been a warning. But I ignored it. Lisa, my sister-in-law, had insisted on making the coffee herself, proudly claiming she'd discovered some expensive new blend. Something's wrong, I gasped, clutching my stomach. I think I've been poisoned.
Lisa laughed.
The sound sliced through the room. Always so dramatic, Olivia, she said. Maybe you ate something you're allergic to. She tilted her head, pretending to be concerned. Or maybe you're pregnant. Minutes later, paramedics rushed into the house. Their voices blended together as they checked my vitals and lifted me onto a stretcher. As they wheeled me toward the ambulance, Lisa leaned close. So close that no one else could hear her. Good luck proving anything, she whispered. No one will believe you. They never do. The worst part? She was right. No one had believed me before. For the past 3 years, ever since I married James, Lisa had been quietly trying to ruin my life. At first it was small things. Items disappearing. Conversations twisted. Situations manipulated just enough to make me seem forgetful, careless, or unstable. But recently, her behavior had become far more dangerous. A month earlier, someone had tampered with my car's brakes. The mechanic confirmed it. There was no proof of who did it. 3 weeks later, my allergy medication had been replaced with different pills, triggering a severe reaction that nearly sent me to the hospital. Again, no proof. As the ambulance raced through the night, I struggled to stay conscious. The paramedic beside me kept asking questions. What did you eat or drink before the symptoms started? Coffee, I whispered. Only coffee. He nodded. Who made it? Lisa. The emergency room exploded into motion the moment we arrived. Doctors ordered blood tests. Nurses asked questions. Machines beeped around me. Not long afterward, James arrived. His face was pale with worry. Olivia, what happened? He asked. I looked at him desperately. Before I could answer, he added, Lisa said you were acting strange all evening. Of course she had. For weeks, she'd been planting doubts in his mind, casually suggesting I was stressed, emotional, or unstable. She'd always resented me. In her eyes, I had stolen her brother away from her. James, I said, gripping his hand. You have to believe me. Lisa did this. She's been trying to hurt me for months. For a moment, I saw uncertainty flicker across his face. Then came the familiar response. Liv, you're not thinking clearly. Lisa would never do something like that. Because she's family. The word stung. Family doesn't sabotage your life. Family doesn't poison you during Sunday dinner. A few minutes later, the doctor returned holding a folder of test results. His expression immediately told me something was wrong. Mrs. Parker, he said carefully, we found something concerning in your blood. My heart pounded. This wasn't a simple case of food poisoning. Lisa's smug smile flashed through my mind. You'll never prove it was me. But as the doctor continued speaking, I realized something unexpected had happened. The blood test had uncovered far more than the poison she had given me. Lisa had made a mistake. A huge one. Without realizing it, she'd exposed a secret that had been hidden for years. The monitor beside my bed beeped steadily, as the doctor explained. Every sentence revealed another piece of the puzzle. Lisa hadn't just tried to poison me. She had accidentally connected herself to something much darker. Something investigators had been trying to solve for years. I closed my eyes and remembered the triumphant look on her face as I collapsed at the dinner table. She thought she had finally won. She thought she had found a way to get rid of me forever. But she had no idea what was coming. Because sometimes the truth reveals itself when people least expect it. And as I lay in that hospital bed, I realized this wasn't the end of the story. It was only the beginning. The next morning, Dr. Stevens sat beside my bed with a grave expression. "The toxicology results are back," he said. I braced myself. "Your blood contains a complex mixture of toxins. What's unusual is that this exact combination matches evidence found in 3 unsolved poisoning cases over the last 5 years. The room suddenly felt very cold. And for the first time, I realized just how dangerous Lisa truly was. All of them involved women in their early 30s. My pulse quickened. 3 other victims? I asked. Dr. Stevens nodded while scrolling through information on his tablet. All 3 survived, but investigators were never able to prove who poisoned them. Eventually, the cases went cold. He paused. "The most recent incident happened 8 months ago, just before you married James." A chill ran down my spine. Suddenly, a memory surfaced. At my engagement party, Lisa had smiled and raised her glass. Asterisk, "You're lucky number 4, aren't you?" Asterisk. At the time, I assumed she was talking about James's previous relationships. Now, the comment carried a far more disturbing meaning. A short time later, 2 detectives arrived at the hospital. They introduced themselves as Detectives Martinez and Cooper. Carefully, I told them everything. The poisoned coffee, Lisa's suspicious behavior, the sabotaged brakes, the switched medication. Every incident I had spent years trying to explain. "Mrs. Parker," Detective Martinez said, taking notes, "we're going to need a full statement. These cases have been on our radar for years, but we've never had enough evidence to connect them." The interview was interrupted when James entered the room. His face turned pale as he overheard the detectives discussing the previous poisonings. "This can't be right," he said. "Lisa would never do something like that." Detective Cooper leaned forward. "What does your sister do for a living?" "She's a pharmaceutical researcher," James answered. "She's worked at Meridian Labs for 6 years." The detectives exchanged a glance. A very troubling glance. "Meridian Labs experienced a major security breach 5 years ago," Martinez explained. "Several experimental compounds disappeared during that incident." My stomach tightened. "The same compounds?" I asked. He nodded. "The same compounds found in all 4 poisoning cases." For the first time, James looked genuinely shaken. The image of his brilliant, successful sister was beginning to crack. But Detective Cooper wasn't finished. "There's something else," he said. He opened another file. "Every previous victim had a connection to you, Mr. Parker." James stared at him. "What kind of connection?" "The first victim was your college girlfriend." He flipped a page. "The second was a coworker you briefly dated." Another page. "The third was a woman you were seeing shortly before meeting Olivia." Silence filled the room. James slowly sank into a chair. His hands trembled. "No," he whispered. "Lisa was always protective, but she wouldn't." "Wouldn't what?" I interrupted. "Try to kill women who got close to you?" He looked at me, devastated. For the first time, he couldn't deny the truth. "James," I said softly, "she's been targeting the women in your life for years." The realization hit him like a truck. I wasn't her first victim. I was simply the first one who survived long enough to expose her. Detective Martinez stood. "We have enough evidence to bring her in for questioning." Then something suddenly clicked in my mind. My phone. Both detectives looked at me. After the break incident, I started recording our family dinners. Audio only. Detective Cooper quickly retrieved my phone. Minutes later, Lisa's voice echoed through the hospital room. Asterisk, "Good luck proving anything. No one will believe you anyway. They never have." Asterisk. The recording was crystal clear. James buried his face in his hands. "Oh my God," he whispered. He looked at me with tears in his eyes. "You were telling the truth all along." His voice cracked. "And I didn't believe you." Detective Martinez placed a hand on his shoulder. "We need to move fast." He turned serious. "If Lisa realizes we're closing in, she'll disappear." Before James could answer, my phone buzzed. A new message. From Lisa. I opened it. My blood ran cold. Asterisk, "You should have died at dinner." Asterisk. A second message appeared. Asterisk. Now I'll have to try harder. Asterisk. Then a third. Asterisk. Family dinner is cancelled. Permanently. Asterisk. The detectives immediately sprang into action. Calls were made. Units were dispatched. An alert was issued for Lisa. But as I watched the officers rush out of the room, I couldn't shake the feeling that this was far from over. Lisa had spent years planning, practicing, and perfecting her methods. She wasn't the type of person who would surrender.
Not now.
Not when everything was falling apart. James squeezed my hand tightly. I'm sorry, Olivia. His voice broke. I should have protected you. I squeezed back. Neither of us knew what would happen next. But we knew one thing. Lisa was desperate. And desperate people were dangerous. As darkness settled outside the hospital windows, the steady beep of my heart monitor filled the room. Each sound reminded me that I had survived. But somewhere out there, Lisa was still free. And I had a terrible feeling she was planning something worse. Over the following days, investigators uncovered one shocking secret after another. Lisa had vanished. Yet her carefully hidden past was finally being exposed. A week later, Detective Martinez visited me carrying a thick evidence file. His expression was grim. We found her journal. My breath caught. Where? Hidden inside her office at Meridian Labs. He opened the file. She documented everything. Every poisoning. Every victim. Every plan. Page after page revealed a disturbing obsession with controlling her brother's life. According to the journal, it had begun years ago. Long before I entered the picture. The day I was discharged from the hospital should have felt like freedom. Instead, I felt terrified. Nothing seemed safe anymore. Every unfamiliar face made me nervous. Every shadow felt threatening. Then my phone rang. Unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. A familiar voice greeted me.
Cold. Calm.
Dangerous. You ruined everything, Olivia. Lisa. My heart stopped. But I can still fix it. I gripped the phone tighter. What do you want? She laughed softly. One last family dinner. The words sent a chill through me. Just you and me. And if I refuse? Her tone hardened instantly. Then I start sending those experimental compounds to every member of this family. Silence. Then she added, let's see how James handles watching everyone he loves suffer. The call ended. I stared at the phone. Every instinct told me to call the police immediately. To tell James everything. But deep down, I knew something terrifying. Lisa wasn't bluffing. I knew Lisa wasn't bluffing. She had already proven how far she was willing to go. Where? I asked. Her answer came immediately. Asterisk, our childhood home. Tonight at 8. Come alone, or the packages start arriving. Asterisk. The line went dead. For several minutes, I sat staring at my phone. Then, I made my decision. Before leaving, I wrote a note for James. Asterisk, I'm sorry. I have to end this. Asterisk. I knew he would be furious. The police would call it reckless. But I couldn't risk the lives of everyone in the family. Not when Lisa had already shown what she was capable of. That evening, I drove to the old Parker family home. The house stood silent against the darkening sky. It had been abandoned after James and Lisa's parents passed away. Lisa had always insisted on keeping it untouched, claiming it held too many memories. Now I wondered if it held something else. Secrets. The front door creaked as I stepped inside. The air smelled stale and forgotten. A single light glowed from the kitchen. Lisa was waiting. She stood beside the counter with a familiar coffee cup in front of her. The sight made my stomach tighten. She smiled. One last drink together. Her eyes gleamed. Seems fitting, doesn't it? I ignored the cup. Instead, I asked the question that had haunted me for years. Why? Her smile vanished. Why hurt all those women? I continued. Why me? For a moment, her calm mask cracked. Then years of anger poured out. Because he was mine first. Her voice echoed through the empty house. My brother. My family. She slammed her hand against the counter. Then one woman after another came along and took him away from me. Her eyes locked onto mine. But you were the worst. I felt a chill run down my spine. You made him love you. Her voice trembled with rage. You made him choose you. She pushed the coffee cup toward me. Drink it. I didn't move. Lisa. Drink it, she screamed. The madness in her eyes was impossible to miss now. It'll be quick. Better than you deserve. Slowly, I reached for the cup, buying time. My thumb pressed against the recording button hidden in my pocket. Then, a floorboard creaked. Lisa spun around. A figure stepped from the darkness.
James.
Pain filled his eyes as he looked at his sister. I knew you'd come here, he said quietly. Back to the place where it all started. Lisa stared at him in disbelief. You weren't supposed to be here. This was supposed to be between us. Tears filled James's eyes.
No, Lisa.
His voice broke. It never should have been. Suddenly, more figures emerged from the shadows. Detective Martinez. Detective Cooper. Several officers. It's over, Martinez said firmly. We heard everything. For one brief moment, it looked like Lisa might surrender. Then her face twisted with fury. With a scream, she lunged across the room. A syringe appeared in her hand. Everything happened at once. James shouted. Officers rushed forward. Lisa drove toward me. A gunshot thundered through the house. The sound echoed off the walls. Lisa collapsed to the floor. The syringe slid from her grasp. Detective Martinez lowered his weapon. The bullet had struck her shoulder, stopping her without causing a fatal injury. As officers moved in and secured her in handcuffs, Lisa's composure finally shattered. She struggled wildly, screaming,
Crying.
laughing, all at once. I did it for you, she yelled at James. Everything was for you. James stared at her. The sister he thought he knew was gone. When he finally spoke, his voice was barely above a whisper.
No.
Lisa froze. Everything was for yourself. For the first time, she had no answer. Months later, the truth had fully come to light. Faced with overwhelming evidence, Lisa confessed to multiple crimes. Her journal detailed years of obsession. The recordings captured her threats. The stolen chemicals found in her possession connected her to the poisonings. The investigation finally gave closure to victims who had spent years searching for answers. Lisa was sentenced to a lengthy prison term and ordered to receive psychiatric treatment. 6 months later, James and I sat together in the living room of our new home, far away from the memories that had nearly destroyed us. The evening sun streamed through the windows as we enjoyed a rare moment of peace. James stared thoughtfully into the distance. The woman before you, he said quietly. I looked at him. The last victim. He sighed. She survived and moved away immediately afterward. His expression darkened. I always wondered why. He squeezed my hand. Now I know. I leaned against his shoulder. We can't change what happened. He nodded. But we can choose what comes next. A small smile appeared on his face. No more family dinners for a while. I laughed. Actually, I was thinking we should start our own traditions. Just us. Just us.
The doorbell rang.
A moment later, Detective Martinez and his wife stepped inside carrying takeout containers. New friends. New memories. A fresh start. As everyone settled around the table, my eyes drifted toward the kitchen. The coffee maker sat quietly on the counter. Untouched. Forgotten. Some traditions I realized were better left in the past. And for the first time in a very long while, the future felt safe.